The Hitman, Thomas Hearns was just a quiet, skinny kid trying to find his way through the rough streets of Detroit. Born in Memphis in 1958 and raised in a hard-working, blue-collar family, Hearns was the youngest of 3 children. When his mother moved the family north to Detroit in search of better opportunities, life didn't get easier, but it did put him on a collision course with greatness. As a teenager, Hearns stood 6'1" but weighed barely 147 pounds. His frame was long and thin, so much so that kids at school called him Stick Boy. In a sport dominated by thick, muscular physiques, Hearns didn't exactly strike fear. He looked more like a high school basketball player than a future knockout artist. But all of that began to change in 1975. That year, Hearns stepped into the Kronk Recreation Center in Detroit, a small, sweltering basement gym that smelled of leather and hard work, the kind of place where champions were made the hard way. To most, Hearns looked like he didn't belong, but Emanuel Steward wasn't most. While others saw a fragile frame, Steward saw rare potential. A freakish 78-inch reach, a long torso perfect for generating torque, large hands built to deliver impact, and fast-twitch muscle fibers capable of explosive power. Where others saw a skinny kid, Steward saw a weapon waiting to be built. At Kronk, Steward began crafting that weapon with precision. While most trainers followed traditional boxing routines, Steward broke the mold. He focused on mechanics, leverage, and knockout power. Hearns' training was methodical and intense. Pad work designed for explosive timing, heavy bag drills to develop snap and impact, and punishing sparring sessions to sharpen his killer instinct. Every detail was engineered to maximize his physical gifts. Day by day, rep by rep, Thomas Hearns evolved. The tall, awkward kid, once laughed at for his skinny frame, became one of the most feared punchers in boxing history. His right hand didn't just hurt, it ended fights. Thomas Hearns didn't just learn how to fight, he was built to destroy. The Kronk system. The Kronk Gym wasn't just a place to train, it was a complete system, a factory for champions. Emanuel Steward had built something revolutionary, and it was rooted in 3 core principles. First, knockouts sell. Steward understood that fans don't remember decisions, they remember destruction. While other trainers focused on defense and point scoring, Steward built fighters to end fights. Power wasn't optional, it was essential. Second, technical precision under pressure. Power without accuracy is wasted. At Kronk, every punch had to be sharp, balanced and intentional, even at full speed. Whether you were tired, hurt or under pressure, form came first. Hearns didn't just train to hit hard, he trained to hit right. Third, mental conditioning. Steward knew knockout power started in the mind. His fighters believed every punch could end a fight, and that belief made them dangerous from the first round to the last. So what did a typical Thomas Hearns training day look like? It started early, 6 a.m. sharp, no matter the weather. Hearns would run 5 miles through Detroit's east side, not at a steady pace, but in fight-specific intervals. Sprints, jogs, and bursts designed to mimic a 12-round rhythm. It built more than endurance, it built engine. At 2 p.m., he returned for the day's core, the power session. 3 hours of focused work, heavy bag drills for impact, speed bag work for rhythm, and intense mitt sessions with Steward himself. These weren't light combinations, they were fight-paced, explosive reps with one goal: make every punch count. It was here that Hearns learned to disguise the right hand behind his jab, to break rhythm, to end a fight without warning. This was where the Hitman was built. And while most fighters were resting, Hearns had 1 more hour to go. At 7 p.m., it was time for mental work, visualization, tape study, and strategy. Steward sharpened Hearns' mind as much as his body. Every punch had a plan behind it. Most fighters trained 2-3 hours a day. Kronk fighters like Hearns trained 5 to 6. But it wasn't just about working harder, it was about working with purpose. Even the equipment was intentional. The heavy bag hung at the perfect height and angle for Hearns' frame. The speed bag adjusted to build fast twitch timing at his natural shoulder level. But the real edge? Emanuel Steward's deep understanding of biomechanics. He didn't try to turn Hearns into something he wasn't. He maximized what he already had. That 78-inch reach became a whip. That long torso, a coil of stored power. Those lean limbs, leverage. Thomas Hearns wasn't just trained, he was engineered. Piece by piece, day by day, Steward built a destroyer. That's what made Hearns more than just a puncher. Building the legendary right hand. Thomas Hearns' right hand wasn't just famous, it was legendary. Roberto Duran called it the hardest punch he'd ever felt. Boxing analysts nicknamed it the right hand of God. But this wasn't just natural talent, it was the result of specific scientific training. Let me break down the physics of punching power real quick. A punch's force comes from the formula, force equals mass times acceleration. Since Hearns was naturally light, Steward had to maximize acceleration and teach him to use his entire body mass efficiently. Everything started with stance and footwork. While most fighters use a traditional shoulder-width stance, Steward had Hearns adopt a slightly wider base. This allowed for greater torque generation when he rotated his hips. Power comes from the ground up, Steward would always say. Your feet are your foundation, your legs are your engine, your core is your transmission, and your arm is just the delivery system. Hearns spent countless hours perfecting what's called the kinetic chain. The punch would start with his right foot pushing off the ground, his hip rotating explosively, his shoulder turning over, and finally his arm extending with a snapping motion. Steward used a revolutionary drill where Hearns would practice throwing the right hand while standing on one foot. This forced him to generate power from core rotation instead of relying on his legs. When he got back on both feet, the power increase was dramatic. This was Steward's secret weapon, what he called the whip effect. Just like cracking a whip, the power started slow at the handle and accelerated exponentially toward the tip. To develop this, Hearns would shadow box wearing 16-ounce gloves on his right hand. The extra weight forced him to generate speed and snap to move the heavy glove. When he switched to 8-ounce fight gloves, his hand speed became explosive. Hearns' unusual height required special attention to punching angles. Steward taught him to punch slightly downward, using gravity to add force. Against shorter opponents, this became devastating. While most fighters hit the heavy bag to build strength, Steward used it differently. Hearns would spend 30 minutes working on single punch perfection. Not combinations, not volume, just one perfect right hand over and over again. The bag was positioned so that when Hearns threw his right hand, he was hitting at the exact angle and distance he'd face in a real fight. This wasn't just training, it was programming muscle memory for destruction. Steward was one of the first trainers to use extensive mirror work for power development. Hearns would spend 20 minutes each day throwing punches at his reflection, perfecting his form and visualizing opponents. By the time this training was complete, Hearns could throw his right hand with perfect technique even when exhausted, hurt, or under pressure. It had become an automatic response. The conditioning program. Having knockout power means nothing if you can't maintain it for 12 rounds. Hearns' conditioning program was just as innovative as his power development, designed to ensure he could throw fight-ending punches from the opening bell to the final round. Steward understood that traditional weightlifting could make fighters muscle-bound and slow. Instead, he developed functional strength training that built power while maintaining speed and flexibility. That 5-mile morning run I mentioned wasn't just cardio. It was specifically designed to build the type of endurance needed for boxing. Mile 1 was easy pace to build aerobic base. Mile 2 was moderate tempo work. Mile 3 was interval training with 30 seconds hard and 30 seconds easy. Mile 4 was hill sprints for explosive power, and Mile 5 was cool-down pace. This routine built the cardiovascular foundation that allowed Hearns to maintain his power throughout long fights. After his run, Hearns would perform a specific bodyweight routine. 100 push-ups in different variations, regular, diamond, wide grip, and one arm. Each variation targeted different aspects of punching power. The core routine was brutal. 100 sit-ups with a 45-pound plate, 50 Russian twists for rotational power, and planks for stability. 3 times a week, Hearns would train with what Steward called the power circuit. Where Hearns used to stand, someone would throw a 20-pound medicine ball directly into his core as he braced himself, building raw trunk stability and pain tolerance. Then, lying flat on the floor, a partner would pound his midsection with the medicine ball, controlled but forceful hits, conditioning his core to absorb punishment under pressure. This medicine ball work was brutal but effective, simulating both giving and taking damage in the ring. Here's where Steward was really ahead of his time. While other trainers pushed fighters to exhaustion every day, Steward understood recovery. Ice baths after intense sessions, massage therapy twice weekly, yoga and stretching routines, and mandatory 9 hours of sleep. This wasn't just about being fresh for the next workout. It was about allowing the body to adapt and grow stronger from the training stimulus. The mental game. The most dangerous weapon in Thomas Hearns' arsenal wasn't his right hand, it was his mind. Emanuel Steward understood that knockout power was as much psychological as physical. Every evening, Hearns would spend 30 minutes in mental rehearsal. He'd visualize specific scenarios like landing his right hand on different opponent types, recovering from being hurt and scoring a comeback knockout, fighting through fatigue to land the decisive blow, and handling the pressure of championship fights. This wasn't daydreaming. It was systematic mental conditioning that prepared him for every possible situation. Steward knew that a fighter who truly believed he could knock out anyone was halfway to actually doing it. He built this confidence through progressive skill building, starting with easier opponents and gradually increasing difficulty. Technical mastery was crucial, perfecting Hearns' technique to an almost automatic level, so he never doubted his ability to execute. Hearns also studied film of great knockout artists like Sandy Sadler and Archie Moore, learning how they set up their big shots. Steward taught Hearns how to recognize and capitalize on the moment when an opponent was hurt. This meant reading body language and spotting the subtle signs that an opponent was stunned or vulnerable. He developed specific follow-up sequences to capitalize when someone was hurt. Most importantly, he learned controlled aggression, pressing the attack without getting reckless. The bigger the fight, the more pressure Hearns would face. Steward prepared him by bringing large crowds to watch sparring sessions, creating hostile environments similar to big fights. They kept exact same routines regardless of fight importance, so big fights felt familiar. Steward instilled a specific philosophy. Your job isn't to win rounds or outbox people. Your job is to end fights. Every punch should be thrown with the intention of ending the fight. This mindset meant Hearns never fought cautiously, even when ahead on points. He was always hunting for the knockout opportunity, staying aggressive even when hurt, and viewing defensive boxing as setup for his next attack. The legacy. The proof of the Kronk training system wasn't just Thomas Hearns' success, it was the lasting impact on boxing training worldwide. By the end of his career, Hearns had compiled one of the most impressive knockout records in history. 48 knockouts in 61 wins, first fighter to win world titles in 5 different weight divisions, knockouts spanning from welterweight to light heavyweight, and multiple Fighter of the Year awards. But more importantly, he proved that power could be developed, refined, and maintained across weight classes. Something conventional wisdom said was impossible. The training methods developed by Steward and perfected with Hearns influenced an entire generation. Modern boxing incorporates elements that were revolutionary at Kronk, like a scientific approach to power development, emphasis on mental conditioning, integration of various training methods, focus on technique under pressure, and understanding of biomechanics. What can modern fighters